Last night I got to check out Mickey 17, and this might be the best movie I've ever seen.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
Hi everyone, my name is Bob and welcome to Was It Good, where I give you my movie and TV show reviews. And today we're going to be talking about the new movie Mickey 17, which stars Robert Pattinson and is directed by Bong Joon-ho. Now before I get into this review, I do want to let you know there are going to be some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, this is your spoiler warning. If you have seen it, I'd like to know what you thought. Why don't you go ahead and share your comments in the comment section below? Let me know. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Is this a movie you were looking forward to? Do you think it lived up to the novel that it is adapted from? I'd really like to know what you thought. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get to it. Mickey 17 is a science fiction dark comedy that stars Robert Pattinson as Mickey Barnes, who is a disposable employee known as an expendable. He tags along on a human expedition to colonize the ice world of Nilfheim. After one iteration of Mickey dies, a new body is regenerated with most of his memories intact. Now, after seeing the trailer, I was very interested in this movie because I love science fiction movies, and I've really been impressed with the way that Robert Pattinson has been able to shed that image that he had left over from Twilight. He's been an excellent actor in a lot of movies that I've seen since Twilight, so with a good actor on board and an interesting science fiction concept, nothing could go wrong.
Yeah, right.
Now, there are a couple of good things that I do want to mention about the movie, and first off, I do think that it introduces some interesting ideas and concepts. So you got a group of humans that are traveling to another world to form a colony, and you've got Mickey Barnes who's along on this ride, and he's the role of what they call an expendable. And his job is basically to do all the tough jobs that nobody else can do because they're very dangerous, or he's actually the guinea pig for the science team on the ship.
Truth is, you're exposed to unthinkable levels of radiation right now, which is why we sent you out in the first place.
Because he does all of these dangerous jobs and is basically the guinea pig, he dies multiple times and he's reprinted or cloned. And you now have the 17th iteration of Mickey. All of his memories get uploaded to the new body. And so it's basically Mickey who's now in his 17th version. And so the film asks some very interesting questions and introduces some interesting concepts. Like this type of technology, what could it be used for? Would it be ethical in the way that it's used? The human experiment, is that an ethical thing to do? So I thought that was a very interesting concept. And there's even a moment in the film where there's a mistake made and you end up with two Mickeys. And the addition of a second Mickey actually added some intrigue to the story, and it introduced another interesting concept because the two Mickeys are very different from each other, despite the fact that they have the same memories. So it introduces the concept of, do they have different souls? Are they really the same person? So I thought that that was an interesting concept, and that's something I would have liked to have seen the movie explore a little bit more. Another thing I enjoyed was Robert Pattinson's performance in the movie because he delivers not just one, but actually two good performances. Because like I said, there's a mistake made and you end up with two Mickeys, and the two Mickeys are very different from each other. So Robert Pattinson is delivering actually two different performances because he's playing two different characters. And you really feel sorry for the Mickey 17 version, and you're kind of intrigued by the Mickey 18 version because of how different he is. So Robert Pattinson really delivered a good performance, and I enjoyed his role in the movie. Finally, I think that the movie itself looks pretty good, from the designs to the sets to the costumes. It feels like it's a world that's really lived in. So aesthetically, I think that the movie looks pretty good, and the CGI is not too bad for the most part. Now, despite the interesting concepts and enjoying Robert Pattinson's performance, I felt one way walking out of this movie.
Everyone in this room is now dumber.
The only problem is I was the only one there. So I thought the story was just plain dumb, and the way events played out just didn't really make any sense at all. And then it's made worse by these over-the-top characters, including this political / cult leader and his wife, and I'll get to them in a moment. And then you get to the planet, and they end up meeting these creatures that are kind of like armadillos who save Mickey's life. And then out of nowhere, they build this translation device, and they're able to communicate with them. And And then it just kept getting worse, and then they introduced even more concepts like commentary on the church and politics, and it just made the film a convoluted mess. Another problem is that the film has a 2-hour, 17-minute runtime, but boy, did it feel like it was 3 hours long. I was so bored by this thing that by the third act, I pulled out my phone for a good 15 to 20 minutes just to do something that was entertaining. So I thought this was a pretty boring movie, and part of the problem also is that it's supposed to be funny, but I had the same reaction to every joke.
Right.
But But the biggest problem I have is with the film's villains, and this goes back to that political cult leader and his wife. And let's start off with his wife. She is very over the top in this movie.
And the winner doesn't die, but the loser goes, ooh.
Her performance came across like a cartoon character, and a very familiar one at that.
Do what you like with them. Drown them.
And then to top it off, her character has this fixation with creating sauces, and she wants to kill all the animals on the planet and use their tails so she can create this sauce.
You like the juice, eh?
And I just thought her character was just too over the top. And then that gets to her husband, who's played by Mark Ruffalo. And I've never really been a big fan of Mark Ruffalo, but I've seen him do a few good things. Ruffalo plays this failed political leader who's lost a couple of elections, who's now a type of cult leader, and he's taking these people to this planet to form a colony and create a master species. And so I just thought he was way over the top. And a lot of people have commented that he was clearly trying to invoke Donald Trump in his performance. Now, to be honest, I didn't particularly get that. To me, he just came off like a bad televangelist. And if that was what you were going for, you might as well have just casted Arsenio Hall. You're not gonna hate man. So I didn't like either of the villains, and they really dragged the movie down for me. Now, the movie is adapted from a book called Mickey 7, and I'm not sure how accurate this is to the book, but I do think that there was a better place for the script than a movie screen.
I am going to put this in the trash.
Real quick before I get into my final thoughts, just a quick reminder to go ahead and check out the other videos on my channel. Maybe I've reviewed something that you're interested in, or something that you've seen already and you'd like to let me know what you thought about it. Also, for those that are interested, I do have another YouTube channel with a couple of my friends where we put on a show called Dads Turn to Talk. This is an opportunity for 3 dads to get together and talk about the things that we want to talk about, including movies, sports, pop culture, and yet have a little bit of fun at each other's expense. The link to that channel will be in the description below. Final thoughts. Was it good? I thought this was an extremely disappointing movie that is an early contender for worst film of the year. Now, I know I might be in the minority on this one because this film is getting a lot of praise from the critics, but I didn't think that this was a good movie at all. In fact, I thought this was bordering on garbage. It is actually well made, and it has some interesting concepts and a very good performance by Robert Pattinson, but it's just got way too many flaws, and because of that, I think that this is a pretty bad film. I say go ahead and skip it, or just wait until streaming. Now, if you're still watching this long, I'd like to thank you for joining me. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.